You spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Hi, Scott.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Just kind of jealous that you're going to be in a pool. So, I mean, it's kind of hot. And I ran, like many of our guests do. We run really quick to get here, but 600 guests 3 years later. I mean, that's the way it goes. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
Didn't we see each other last Tuesday? I think we did.
Did we?
Yeah, I don't. You know what? It just becomes part of the weekly routine. And Bank of Blue Valley and Burns McDonnell carry us there. I think Burns McDonnell is just just swimming in a pool as well. They hired 1,600 people before the summer started. So 800 interns and 800 new hires. So they got a lot going on. Bank of Blue Valley, Will Fox, the new president, is keeping Lisa busy, our boss. And so, things are good.
We did see each other last Tuesday, but I haven't seen you in person in months. Since March Madness.
Oh my God, that was so fun.
Yeah, it was really
Bank of
fun.
Blue Valley party.
Yeah. It was really fun. What have you been up to?
So 3.5 and 5.5-year-old. What have you been up to with your kiddos? Any new shows that they're in?
You know what we did this weekend? So my daughter's in a traveling musical theater troupe, and we went to Branson, and she opened up for 3 of the different major shows there. Her and her troupe opened up for 3 of the different shows there. And we did 4 days in Branson with the musical theater troupe, and I was a chaperone. And my daughter's the youngest on the troupe. She's the youngest one that made it because you have to audition. So it was fun. It was a lot. She opened up in front of one of the shows had 1,000 people in the audience.
That's amazing, and it's unbelievable how young your daughter is. But is it like a 5-minute skit or 20 or 30?
So it's a musical theater troupe. So they sing musical show tunes. It's like probably 6 or 7 songs. It's like 25-minute pre-show. They do the pre-show for the shows. And then both of my kids got cast. Olathe is doing an all district-wide musical of Frozen. Over 350 kids audition. They cast, I think it was 46. My son is Kristoff, which is the lead, and my daughter made the ensemble. So
wow.
So we got that. We got the quite a few other shows, but that show's about to sell out already. It's not until August.
Yeah, you're on a parenting high right now. Way to go, Aaron.
Doing really good.
We need Bank of Blue Valley to get them a sponsor or a agent for all the hype.
They do need agents. No, it's weird. We're kind of doing my son's getting ready to go to college, right? He's going to be a junior. So in your junior year, you start the BFA auditions, which is Bachelor of Fine Arts. So we're kind of doing all of that right now. Hey, if you are here watching, let us know if you're watching from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. I see a bunch of people are watching. Let us know. We have a fantastic panel today. So I'm excited about our panel. What do you got planned? You got any more plans this summer?
No. Yeah, I'm sure. But I was thinking of Branson. So I'm going to be planning a spring break trip with like probably 10 or 15 families in the coming years. And it's going to be Branson or bust. This isn't going to be like Fort Lauderdale. It's going to be like Branson with a bunch of toddlers. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to be real awesome. But speaking of college, our guests have a lot of college children or recent college graduates. So we need advice from them as people are tuning in and letting us know where they're watching from.
Look, it's our buddy. Hi, Brian. Thank you
for
letting us know you're on there. Yeah, you don't have no summer trips planned?
we have summer trips, but people don't want to hear about our summer trips. They want to hear about our guests. But
They don't
one of
want to
our
hear about your
guests
spring break
will
brand.
they'll be popping on. Yeah, spring break for sure. But one of our guests will be popping in a little bit later. So, but we're good to go, my friend.
Look at this. Jeff says, and he's watching from LinkedIn. Hey, Jeff. All right. Well, then let's just get to our guest. Nobody cares. But I do want to see where I'm going next week.
Where you? Oh, sorry. You were pumping me up for a banter of me asking you where you are going. That's the third time. Fourth time I got it. Erin, where are you going?
I'm going to New York Pride.
Oh, my God.
It's supposed to be one of the best. It's supposed to be Toronto, then New York. That's in order of how they are. So
I'm such a bad co-host. She's talking to Brian Schweitzer.
You're terrible. All right. We're going to go ladies first. Our first guest today is Joyce.
Hi, everybody.
Eileen and Mark. I put that past your face. Hi, guys. How are ya? I feel like I haven't done a big panel in a long time on here. So I'm so excited because I know all three of you guys personally. And we've got one more guest that's going to join us in a little bit. But Joyce, how are you?
I am fine. I'm excited to be here. This is so fun. It's been a while.
I miss you. Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
So I currently am almost full-time as a family business consultant. I help multi-generational families optimize what they're doing and think about the future and what they want to do. A lot of generational transition right now and a lot of mentoring of the next generation, which is really, really fun.
So Joyce, a question I had is I feel like your world has kind of been blowing up because during the pandemic, valuations of companies kind of hit a little bit of a peak last summer. And I think a lot of family businesses kind of figured out, what is my plan going to be when money starts getting tossed around of what a business could be potentially worth. Do you find that to be a reason for the growth of your organization?
Yeah, well, a lot of it's because they're really trying to understand how to optimize the business, to your point. But a lot of it has really gotten to a place where these 20-somethings that we were talking about have a lot more interest in the business. They're potentially looking for their role moving forward. And we want to understand what I call the 3 pillars of how to optimize it, which is really thinking about the financial stability of the company that you have, the intrinsic value that you bring to the marketplace, and then how efficient are you? And that really is driven by the strength and quality of your management team. So taking companies through that as a process and assessment is really fulfilling and exciting and rewarding to everybody who's a part of it, as long as everybody has a willingness to do it. And that's the most interesting part of it, right? You got to be willing to do something to be able to really optimize it.
And, I'm copying Erin's question, but how'd you get to Kansas City and what you're doing today?
So I got to Kansas City through Hellsberg Diamonds. I was their head of marketing and I got recruited here, and that was such a fun experience. I was 5 years in the fine jewelry business. So Mark and I have something in common there, I'm sure. And had a lot of fun with Barnett Hellsberg in the process. And then as part of that, I joined a family business board up in Nebraska, a company called Great Plains Communications. And they owned all the telecommunications infrastructure up in north of Omaha and throughout the whole state of Nebraska. And that's how I kind of got on my family business journey.
No more questions, Scott?
Well, Erin, you always get mad at me when I ask like back to back.
You do, but I'm just used to it. I just sit back now.
I was trying not to do 2 or 3 in a row. Well, I love the family business conversation. I know everyone else in the panel also is very familiar with family business, but do you have a certain niche that you feel like you do really well in? A lot of people go down the manufacturing side or publication. Like, what do you feel is like a niche that you feel like you're great at?
So I partnered last year. It's sort of my new news. I partnered with Aspen Family Business Group, and most of my colleagues are clinical psychologists.
Wow.
So we really leverage the emotional and the business part of it together, and that's pretty unique. And it helps us kind of work through issues to get to what we like to call the shared family vision of what everyone sees the future being, bringing all their individual perspectives to bear and creating that unique purpose statement for the whole family system. So it's a really unique perspective, and just having clinical psychologists as colleagues has been one of the most interesting things over the last couple of years.
So one more question before we pass it to Eileen here. Is there a recent success story or curveball that you've had to deal with that was unique?
Well, the uniqueness is usually when you kind of get to family aspects and you think you kind of have everybody heading in the same direction. And then one of the family members will kind of go on a more individualistic perspective. And that is always a curveball to the family system, because you're always trying to kind of get everybody back together and heading in the same direction, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So, Aaron, I'll let you ask your question to Eileen, because I got a couple questions for her as well.
Okay. Just go. Oh, for Eileen, are you ready to move over?
Yeah.
Just making
You
sure.
know it.
With you.
You
I don't
should-
even know why I'm here, honestly. Why am I on this show anymore? I don't even need to be here. I just leave. Let me leave.
So, Eileen, who are
Eileen,
you?
who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Okay. Hi. Last time I was on, Aaron, you had just broken your leg. So
Yeah, I'm
it's
walking now,
a
finally.
long
Finally
time.
walking.
Yeah. So I'm probably best known because I was the mayor of Independence for 8 years and was on the Independence State Council for a total of 10 years. So, that kind of put me out into the public eye quite a bit and gave me the opportunity to make a lot of connections and be involved with a lot of different things in the Kansas City region. So now I have launched a consulting company, or relaunched it, I should say. I did some consulting many years ago in public relations and have relaunched my company, really focusing mostly kind of in a broad sense on economic and community development. So how I got to Kansas City was I worked for the Kansas City Chiefs. So in 1992, I was recruited to Kansas City and worked in the Chiefs public relations office for about 8 years, and really never thought that I would stay in Kansas City, but here I am.
So, I was talking with someone today at a coffee, and they were talking about, like, everyone here knows a lot of people that have large networks, and they're asking who has the largest networks. And I always say people that get involved in civic work like yourself. So what drives you? I feel like you have to have another gear to drive you, because everyone is your constituent no matter what. So in business, it's easy, I feel like, but for what you've done civically, so where does that gear come from?
I think truly the root of it is just a desire to be creative. I mean, it's just a form of creativity, is the way I always see it. And this is just how I grew up. My dad his career was in downtown redevelopment, and my family was always just very involved with civic things. My grandparents, my parents, my aunts and uncles. So it was just kind of what we did, in our family. But it's problem solving, it's strategy, and finding solutions for difficult problems. And my background is as a publicist and a writer, and just kind of bringing those kinds of skills and problem solving to the public realm. And what drives me is to create something. I just feel like that's my the purpose of being alive is to be creative.
Okay, so you said everybody knows me as the Independence mayor. That's how you started the conversation, right? So what's the big next move to be known as?
I loved doing the economic and community development stuff while I was mayor. I mean, that was the stuff that was the most fun to do. And what I want to continue to do, and using, like you say, my network, my skills, my, desire to make places unique and special and memorable. And so, I want to be known as the go-to resource in our region for assisting businesses and cities with doing economic and community development.
Nice. The one more question I know Aaron's going to ask the next one for Mark, but I want to know about your favorite projects that you got accomplished on the real estate side for Independence.
Well, I think probably the signature project was the Independence Uptown Market. Being able to create that public space on our Independence Square, that was something that the community had talked about and discussed and wanted for a long time. And, the unique way that all came together. We won multiple awards for that project, which was nice and helped to elevate the image and the reputation of our city by doing a project that was so high profile and really was a collaborative effort between the city, our Chamber of Commerce, our civic organizations. I mean, the Rotary Club of Independence was a huge participant in that, the Square Association, and just bringing that all together. And it's completely, changed the Independence Square, created this gathering space, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful addition to our city. So that's probably the one that I point to that I'm really proud of, not just because we have a beautiful facility, but just the way it came together, and so many people just buying into this, in this vision and digging in and helping make it happen.
Nice.
Love it. All right. I'm so very excited to see you. Now that I can walk, we should go have happy hour again.
Yes.
Okay? All right. I think last time I saw you, I was still on crutches. Mark, who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City? And can you tell me that thing again? Because now I have 2 rings I need to get rid of. Thanks.
I can help you with that. I am this week a personal jeweler, private jeweler. So I work with private clients one-on-one for whatever jewelry needs there are. I also do consulting within the industry. I'm a U.S. agent for a few manufacturers, and I help overseas brands and manufacturers do business in the U.S. So how's that for simple?
That's too simple.
Yeah, you gotta get the origin story. What's the Mark origin story?
Give us your origin story, Mark.
Let's go way back. My parents were immigrants from Italy, so I had the ability. I was born here, first generation American, and born in Kansas City. I've had the ability to travel all over the world, and I love calling Kansas City home. It's the best place to raise kids. I explain to people you might call us flyover, but we're 3 hours from anywhere in the country. So there you go.
3 hours on an airplane.
Pardon me?
3 hours on an airplane.
On an airplane. I mean,
I only know Omaha.
I know. 3 hours in a car, we're in Omaha. 3 hours from Paris, at least you're in London. So I get that.
Now, Mark, you've grown multiple businesses. What is something you feel is critical for entrepreneurs watching the show when they're trying to grow their business, or when they're, maybe in a rut and they're trying to get through something?
I would say have faith in yourself first. Put your faith in God and put your faith in yourself, and be willing to put the work in. Nobody else is going to do it for you. And you have to trust yourself, and you have to trust the process. And there's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's going to be a lot of voices, but you've got to stay strong, and you've got to be diligent.
And from your standpoint of taking risk and chances, what do you feel are some of your favorite things that you've done that you didn't think were going to work out, but ended up being like a home run?
So I originally resigned from the family business that I ran for 20 some years. It's been about 6-7 years now, and kind of try to figure out kind of what I wanted to do when I grow up type of idea. And the more I dabbled and stayed in jewelry, the more I realized it's more of a passion, and it goes with the relationships, the aesthetics, the fashion side of it, the commodity side of it. It plays so many different roles, and the connectivity with my clients, just being able to have that one-on-one. Not selling caskets, selling something that has a memory and serves a purpose that nobody needs. And it's just something that everybody wants.
There's a lot of money in caskets. Okay.
There's a lot of money in caskets. Not fun, but there is a lot of money.
I mean, I'm not against selling caskets. That's all I'm going to say. Mark, for educational purposes, if you've had like 1 or 2 divorces in the past couple of years, what can you do with those rings that are just sitting on your nightstand?
It's a common question, I think. Yeah.
Luckily, there is a good secondary market for diamonds. Of course, it fluctuates as the economy does, but I can help you with that. So that's generally part of my business also when I work with clients. And it's a matter of consulting whether we liquidate, whether we convert into something that's different and wearable, or if it's worth holding on to and hand off to one of the offspring.
So we just reach out to you.
Reach out to me.
Stop. You don't know.
Well, one more question for Chase. So I know everyone's like, hey, what are your top 5 questions? But I would assume is 2 questions. Is that a top 5 question people ask you? And then number 2, do you end up becoming somewhat of an expert on this topic and what the rules and regulations are?
Yeah, that's part of the relationship portion of it, because you don't want to just go to Google and try to figure out who you want to work with on that, because you want to trust the person you're working with. That's the first thing. The second thing is you want to maximize your value in that and see what all of your options are. It's not just about what can we liquidate and what can we scrap. It's about, let's see what's usable, what's not usable. And it's very common that a part of what I do with clients from time to time is go through old items or inherited items, estates, and say, let's see what we can repurpose. Let's see what we can scrap. Let's see what's worth holding on to.
Okay, I have an important question. You ever make a ring for someone or help pick out a ring for someone and a couple, and you just know it's not going to work? And do you say that?
Let's just say that there's certain key elements that are in place that will kind of trigger that thought. How's that?
So before I do this again, what you're saying is before I do this again, I can come in to you and you're going to tell me if it's going to work for a long time.
I think it's more of a personality thing. I don't think it's a you thing. I don't think you have the problem. I think it's more of there's certain personalities that, when you see the relationship going, it's quite obvious.
All right. I'm going to come to you next time.
I appreciate that.
All right. Hi, Chase.
What's up?
Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
I'm Chase, and I make T-shirts.
You went to a prestigious high school that Aaron's a huge fan of.
OE?
OE.
That's right.
Right.
Do you know, first of all, I have to tell you one OE fact real quick, Chase, because I don't know if you know this, and I think you should make a shirt around it. Do you know that there is a boy named Justin Cooley? He graduated 2 years ago from OE. He won the Blue Star. He then went on to win the Jemmy. They then pulled him on to Kimberly Akimbo, which was just up for 8 Tony Awards. They won 5 of the 8 Tony Awards. He was up for Best Actor. Fortunately, he didn't win that, but he is the star of that show, and he's an Olathe East grad, and I don't know why the city is not talking about it more.
It's Olathe East is a stomping ground of young talent. So I believe it. I love that.
Okay, tell us who you are. Sorry we interrupted.
All good. I'm Chase McAnulty, a.k.a. Charlie Hustle, I guess, if you will. Started a clothing brand about 12 years ago, and we're still alive today, live and kicking. We're kind of like a duck. A duck on the water seems pretty smooth, but underneath he's just kicking his legs. so we're always kicking and trying to make things happen. And but yeah, I got into it. I really kind of found, Mark said it. It's about following your passions, and I really enjoy making clothes. That's kind of become the fun of it for me. But I collected vintage T-shirts back in the day, whether it was 85 Royals T-shirts or your 81 Rolling Stones concert T-shirts, whatever it was something that told a story. And I wanted to bring those stories back. And we kind of pivoted early on to a local brand. My focus was really collegiate sportswear, but we launched with 16 T-shirts. Our 16th shirt was the Casey Hart. And that was kind of the thing that took off. The day we launched our website, we sold 27 shirts, which I think is pretty good for day one. And we had a lot of things that built up to that point, but 14 of those shirts were the Casey Hart. So we knew we had something to kind of dig into and get behind and market, and really pivoted towards focusing locally and building around this community. And it's been a pretty awesome, wild ride. I've gotten to meet some amazing people, including all of you. And so yeah, just blessed to be able to do something I love to do.
Did you ever think that you were going to kind of become a local celebrity while you were making T-shirts?
Who said I'm a local celebrity?
I
did. I'll take it. But no, I think, you certainly have to have a vision for what you want to go do and accomplish. That piece was not part of it. But I think I like to let the brand name really lead the charge, and the people behind that. And it's always we, not I. That's just how I feel about all of that. So that's no joke for sure.
Not to ask you to talk about yourself more, but can you tell us about the journey to winning the Mr. K Award, and then how that dovetailed into the Parade of Hearts?
Yeah. It was, really interesting. I had a good friend up at Pro Athlete, Scott Hedrick. I'm sure you've talked to him before. I don't know if he's been on this podcast, but great mentor. He got me involved in Vistage a while back, but he was always involved. His company was always involved in awards, and really kind of helped me understand what that meant to your culture, and building that culture. And we got involved with the chamber, a few years after they had kind of became a top 10 business. And I think our first year we got in the top 10, and it was like, whoa, cool. Had no business being there, really. But I think what it did was helped me understand what needs to be done. How are we going to keep building? How are we going to keep growing? How do we get to that, stage? How do we win that award? And I think the next year we had another shot at it. We took a break right after COVID, and then we gave it one more shot, and it was clear the difference between where we were at that point and where we were when we first kind of entered the mix. And it was almost like, if they don't choose us, fine, great, move on. But we had a lot of really good things going for us, that I think it just, ultimately we ended up winning, and it was a really big thing for our business, and met a lot of great people through that. But Pro Athlete had actually won the year before, and so we had some insight on how to get there and what needed to be accomplished. And I think we were able to really show off for the the judges the final time around, and it was certainly one of the biggest honors I've been a part of here locally for sure.
Did you know Parade of Hearts was going to be a big deal?
I think you have to think that way. And it was really interesting. I sat with Tucker Trotter. It was 2019, April 2019. It was that far back.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to grab coffee with him because I was starting to think, how do we put the Casey Hart in the skyline? What's our Chicago mean? That was kind of the conversation. It was really a fun entrepreneurial, high level civic leader conversation. It was just, and Tucker had brought up the cow parade back in the day, and I remember that. I was a little bit younger, but I knew, right away, like with the technology we have and the connections we have and the growth, the economic development of our city and surrounding areas, that it could be a much bigger parade. And the cow parade was actually a bunch of New York lawyers. Nothing wrong with New York there, Eileen, but Eileen's that's why she's such a hustler, because she's a New Yorker. She's got it in her heart. But yeah, I think Tucker was a great person to have to kind of lead that charge and say, I believe in it. Let's make it happen. We put a great group of people together that ultimately ended up making the thing happen. So I got to be a small piece of that vision. And to see it come to life was pretty special. I actually moved. I just moved houses in March, and the lady that bought our Casey Hart, the Mahomes Hart with the hair and whatnot, she actually lives right on the corner of our street. So I drive in and I see it every day. She's posted it right at the corner, and it's kind of a pretty cool thing. My daughter, 3.5 years old, is always saying, Casey hot. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
It's really great to see the people that have carried that on, and I think it's going to last for 10 years, and beyond. So, and I have to say, Eileen has been a huge piece of that this go around, and you can see it. Yeah, you can tell. So it seems to, sometimes these things grow and sometimes these things kind of fizzle out, but there's been some major growth from year one. And I think a credit to her and the people behind that for sure.
I have a quick question. It's very important to me. When am I going to be asked to be a model for the Pride collection in 2024?
Come on. You don't need to be asked. You just need to.
No, you guys have the best, one of the best Pride collections in town, right? And Pride collections, as a member of the LGBTQ community, Pride collections can be really controversial. And I feel like you guys always do a really good job of being respectful and not pissing everybody off.
Yeah, our team does a really good job of all that. And I think at this point, we've just, you dabble in it for, I think we started a Pride collection 5-6 years ago, and you get a lot of feedback, and ultimately it's about, what you believe in and what you want for your brand. And, you find different ways to support the community. And I think it's a important thing. And honestly, you get some interesting comments, but at the end of the day, it's it's a really positive thing, and so it doesn't even affect you as a business owner anymore. At this point, it's like, no, this is what we believe in, and this is what we support. And I think anytime you go support something, you go all in. You don't half-ass it. So that's what we do with everything.
All right, we'll have a new girlfriend by this time next year, so we'll model for you.
Yeah,
all right.
It's a good pickup line.
Be like, do you want a model for this?
Yeah, you want to model? My friend Chase said we could do it.
I used to model for.
I
Joe.
model just for the Frank Legend. All right, well, awesome. Thanks for jumping on here. Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to play the Burns McDonnell question of the day. We were having some technical difficulties earlier, so I will repeat the question afterwards, just in case you guys can all hear it, and then Joyce will jump to you for the answer. Y'all ready? Perfect. Joyce, you ready? Okay.
It's right.
Hello, my name is Lisa Diven. I'm a mechanical engineer at Burns & McDonnell. I currently write proposals for our oil, gas, and chemical business. And my question today is, what technology is essential for your business?
So, if you guys didn't hear it, Lisa asked, what technology is essential for your business? And we'll start with you, Joyce.
So mine is absolutely, positively my favorite website in the whole world, Sketchbubble. If you don't have a subscription and you do any kind of presentations, that is the subscription to have. It's the best $50 a year you ever spend. And I do all kinds of, the yellow brick road to your shared vision. And I mean, it's just any kind of graphic visual you want to get out there. It's awesome.
Sketchbubble. Is that what
I've
it
never
was?
heard of it.
Sketchbubble. It is so good.
I don't mean to be like a spelling bee question, but can you use it in an example?
So I have a lot of families like to think about things like a three-legged stool. Mm-hmm. So there's three elements to their business, right? And so you go out to Sketchbubble and there's a three-legged stool and you can build a little visual to help them understand it. Or here's the roadmap to the future, and it's literally a visual of a road and steps along the way to get there. So that's my go-to technology.
Look, this is it. So it's like a PowerPoint, but it has like animation.
It is so awesome. And it doesn't matter if you're Google or Apple or Microsoft PowerPoint, every single idea is available in whichever format you like. And then if you're into multicolor, it is. If you're into one color, you can do it that way. And you can download everything.
That's cool.
Wonderful. Aaron, you took this show to the next level. You just gave like a live example. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm really tricky. I pushed share screen. It was real tricky.
She also looks pretty fierce with that brick wall in the background.
Well, it's the one and only virtual background for my super messy office.
Smart.
I like it. It's kind of like you're in the alleyway talking to us. I enjoy it.
Exactly.
Enjoy it. Okay, Eileen, what technology can you not live with?
Oh my gosh. I am becoming so analog. It's ridiculous. I mean, I finally decided I don't need a smartwatch to be telling me everything about myself all day long. So, Mark, I'm in the market for a watch, I guess. I've been thinking about this the whole time we've been talking, and I'm like, my relationship is so built on relationships and talking to people that I don't really use a ton of technology other than like Google Maps to get me, to where I need to go. But I find myself interesting, like using it less and less. I am doing a lot more, one-on-one personal conversations and relying less on technology other than, schedule. What I need to do is get like a good, scheduling, technology app that I use. Yeah. But see, my clients are not techie, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to do
so
that.
simple though. They literally just hit it.
I know. So,
and fun fact about Calendly, the founder and creator, also my best friend, used to work at Perceptive. He lived in Kansas City for years.
Yeah.
And had the idea for Calendly in Kansas City. He moved back to Atlanta where he's from because the Black tech scene is very supportive there. But he had the idea for Calendly while here.
Yeah. Great. Well, I know I've been told to check it out, so I need to get with it.
Try it. You used it to get on this show. You
I
saw
did.
how easy it was.
I know. You're right.
All right. Well, so Google Maps is your answer.
I guess. I mean, that's all I do is drive around, go look at stuff. You know?
More
Go to
stuff than
meetings.
that. But we'll go with Google Maps, Eileen.
Yeah, I know.
Hang out.
That's lame. I know.
I'll get you like on TikTok or something. That can be your next answer.
I hear
All right,
that's controversial, huh?
I don't know. Just hang out with me. You'll get all sorts of
Well,
controversial
get on
things
TikTok
about
while
it.
you still can, is the message there, right? So,
I mean, I could go down a TikTok 1 hour
I know.
entire thing here, but follow me. I have a lot of
Yes.
followers.
Don't do it, Eileen. Leave Aaron, keep rolling the questions. I'm joking.
Mark,
Yeah.
what sort of technology is imperative to your business?
You are on mute.
Mark, unmute yourself. You're not on mute. You are having issues with your technology. Here, let me mute and unmute you. Okay, try again. Mark, just come back.
As Mark is texting, I did get a text
Mark, just
message
come back.
that Mark Mazzarese was
He's
on the
He's
Zoom.
on his phone during this. Chase, what technology is essential for your business? Come back, Mark.
Actually, we have a really good. We had a team of really good implementers, and they like spreadsheets. And as a creative, I hate spreadsheets. But there's a thing called Airtable that allows you to kind of visually represent some things through spreadsheets and still have that kind of organization. But it's kind of become our ERP system as a company. Like everybody across the company uses it. It's how we cross-functionally work, connect one another. I was trying to think of a fun answer, but I was like, I mean, it's Airtable. It's kind of the heart and soul of our brand, and we've used it almost 5 years now, and it's just kind of the system that's stuck. I've tried so many different things, and Airtable is a good one. So
Hold on, I'm gonna get techie again. You guys ready?
Ooh, I love it. I think it's part of the show.
Wow.
What?
No one's even pumping us for this. There's no sponsorship here.
No, I'm just showing you. Hold on. This is
I think it's
Airtable
very valuable.
right here. The fastest way to build apps, they said. I don't know what that is,
Wow.
but this is it. This is Airtable. All right.
Just
I
in
don't
the
see
nick of
Curly
time.
Hustle on there.
Who has an echo now? Mark,
How's-
come back with an
How's
echo.
that? Can you hear me better?
Well, you kind of came back with an echo, but I'll remove myself. What technology is essential for your business?
God, I was going to tell you my cell phone, but apparently it just wants to be a little temperamental. It's amazing to me how, in the relationship business, how being connected just plays such an important part. It really is the communication and the ability to, between email, phone calls, FaceTime, whatever I need to do. It's just been the best tool for me. That's the one thing I can't do without.
Did you say email?
I did say email.
Okay. I was just making sure we were on the same page.
I just also, we talk about clients that are not tech savvy, but everybody uses email. 90% of people are using smartphones. So, I mean, it's definitely the next basic connectivity.
Do you have an iPhone or an Android?
I'm an iPhone.
I didn't
I
know
can't do the green messages.
You're an Android guy when it's cut out like that.
Can't do the
Can't do. Yeah, the green bubbles are the worst, right?
worst.
I'm quick to kick you out of a group chat if you have the green bubbles. Real quick.
There's always one.
I'll just start with a whole new group chat and leave you out. Get a leave a group chat with a green bubble. All right, so we got some pretty exciting things here. Thank God Chase and Joyce came in with the sketchbook and the Airtable because Eileen said Google Maps and Mark said
Terrible. I know. It's pathetic.
Thank you guys for coming in strong with that. All right, Scott, we have 15 minutes.
I just
You wanna
wasn't
talk about
asking
goals or do you wanna
questions
ask
because
us- What?
Mark had a little bit of a echo, but I did get a text message from a gentleman named Andy Janis that said Mark was looking phenomenal, but he was not on the chat. But this is the time of the show where, Aaron, you ask about time flying by and goals.
I know.
So I don't know if you want to take it.
That we're almost halfway through the year. Like, I don't even know what happened because I kind of checked out of my life for the first half of the year, but I'm back. But Joyce, let's start with you. How has your year gone? Are you on set to make your 2023 goals? And how do you finish the second half of the year strong? What's the plan?
Thank you for that great question. It has been a terrific year. I think there's a lot of transition in the works, Scott, that you mentioned earlier in the show. And I think people are very eager to try and figure out what that next generation looks like in their company. So I'm pretty excited about that. Our second half goal is to try and take a lot of the intellectual property that we've created and put it into an AI vector and basically try and stay on an edge from an AI perspective to be able to begin to deliver more accessible family business consulting information. So we're pretty excited about that. And it's a journey for sure, working in the AI world.
So do you feel that in the artificial intelligence side, the last 2 months have just been nuts, or am I weird for thinking that?
Yeah, well, I mean, just getting a .ai is really interesting as a process, and then really starting to create that vector so that you can sort of own that piece of the AI infrastructure is it's just moving like a freight train. So if you have any interest in a .ai extension, go get it now. Privatejeweler.ai, Mark.
What's your favorite, like, I guess so far, what has been the most impressive AI thing you've seen?
The ability to kind of have this intern, that's there to really help you do your work better and smarter and quicker. I think that's one of the really cool parts about it.
Did you see that Victoria's, Joyce is always on top of the next thing. Did you see the Victoria Beckham eyeglass AI?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Where if you're looking at them, you can try on the glasses, right? So it's a little bit of both, and then it'll also ask you. So it's got the AI asking. So you kind of got the AR and the AI all together. And so you can try on the glasses through like Facebook Messenger and stuff. They'll send you ones that they think that you would like. It was a test. It was right during COVID that they started the test. And I don't know if they ever ended up launching it totally, but it was pretty interesting to watch. There's a lady on Kathleen, I'll have to send her to you, but on LinkedIn that I met, she's kind of the AI, like she's the lady that's talking AI everywhere. And so I learned it through her. She showed it to me at a conference and it was pretty cool.
It is absolutely a freight train.
Right.
Rolling down the tracks.
Really, really fast.
Really fast.
Good afternoon, Deborah. All right, Eileen, how about your goals? Where are you and what's your plan for the second half of the year?
Well, yeah, I mean, I left office 14 months ago. In October, I started thinking about putting together this business, and I've got customers. So yay, I've got actual paying clients, which was my goal, was to, start building my customer base. So that's going really well. And I am doing a lot of different interesting projects, Parade of Hearts being one of them. So and last summer I realized that nobody is around in around 4th of July. I mean, this whole town goes on vacation. So I said, this is one thing that I realized. For the first time in my life, I have weekends off. I've never had weekends. Like my job always, I worked on the weekends. I mean, I worked for the Chiefs, and then I, worked in retail. I had a business. Then I was mayor. So, one of my goals was, I took a tip from Aaron and Chase, and I'm like, I only work for a 4-day work week, and having time to do a lot of things that I have never ever had the time to do. And now my kids are, they just turned 21, so my son lives at home, but I'm not raising kids and tied to their schedule. So yeah, things are going great.
I love it. How about you, Chase? Where are you with your goals for 2023?
Well, a lot of new exciting things that I think me personally as an entrepreneur, I've always wanted to explore, but you can't because you have to keep your eye on the ball most of the time. But Charlie Hustle's gotten to a good point where I've built a really phenomenal team around me that can execute and really do what needs to be done from the day-to-day basis. So it allows me to kind of go work on the business as opposed to in the business a little bit more. And we're actually looking at building a portfolio of brands, helping other brands, potentially acquiring some other brands or starting other brands. But that's kind of the focus right now. I took a sabbatical a couple of years ago, and that was a good challenge for me to sit back and just think about the future and what do I want to go accomplish from a family standpoint and a business standpoint. And so I think building on to what we've accomplished with Charlie Hustle would be really fun. And again, I've gotten to a point where I really like the manufacturing and just designing clothes. It's been a fun thing to explore in my life. And there's some really cool brands out there that are doing some amazing things that now it's getting to a point where I can spread those wings and do some more things outside of Charlie Hustle. So I'm excited about that.
How long have you had Charlie Hustle?
12 years.
Wow.
We just turned 12 last week, actually. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then you said you have a 3-year-old that mentions the Patrick Mahomes heart. You also have I would think a goal of is everyone sleeping in your house?
No,
because you have a new addition.
No, we have Poppy, is our 1-year-old. She just turned 1 yesterday. So she hasn't been sleeping great. I'll say that.
Sorry to bring up a sore subject, but I was just talking about it.
I just want to let you guys both know that I don't feel that bad for you because at least you know where they are, because now I have an almost 17-year-old who I also don't sleep and I also don't know where he is half the time, right? So I'm waiting for him to get home and he's driving on the highways with his friends, and then when it's raining, same thing, just 15 years later. So good luck. At least you know they're in their little bed.
Aaron, I think everyone's got a parenting technology tip. I want to say it was Life 360.
I have Life 360. It does not matter.
Okay, never
mind. See where they are, but you don't know when they're coming home. When it's
wait till he goes to college, then you're really.
You guys enjoy those baby days. Is all I'm saying.
That's right.
Enjoy the baby days. I don't want to hear it.
We're doing okay.
How's your 2023 going?
Oh man.
Mark, you're on mute. He's on mute. Okay, there you go.
Chase, it gets better. 2023 is really panning out to be a great year. It's I'm looking forward to building more relationships, the market should open up, and we're going to have people that just want to get back into diamonds. So they're going to want to wear a lot of diamonds with their t-shirts. So we'll see how that goes. The style has definitely changed, and the aesthetics are still continuing, but design's a big part of it, and it's really the fashion of it is continuing. We'll see what happens.
I have one quick question for you.
Sure.
How do you feel about the teardrop ring?
The pear shape, I think it's beautiful. I think it's fantastic.
Gross. I hate it. I figured you were going to.
I guess, Aaron, a question would be, I think the audience may want to know is there a new trend that's coming out for people that are getting engaged?
We're seeing a spike more recently in lab-grown diamonds. There's been just a big push. Some of it is the approach that it's greener. That's arguable. But the other side of it is you get a lot for your money, and the prices have come down considerably, and it acts like a diamond, tastes like a diamond, smells like a diamond. But, it's hard to say what happens in the long run. You're not getting the long-term, let's say, ROI on an investment, if that's what it is. But we don't know what's really happening. But it's been a very interesting part of our industry the past couple of years.
Well, I think that there's 4 minutes, so I'm going to say my quick opinion and then we can move on. I think part of that is a social media play where now it's about what it looks like versus what it is and a lot of stuff. And so for Gen Z and the younger millennials, that's what is important, what it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that pans out.
You're exactly right. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on that high note. Thank you guys so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I want to let everybody know you can connect with all of these people on our LinkedIn, and you can go support all of them. We really appreciate you guys. We know this was everyone's at least second time on the show. So thank you so much for trusting us and coming back. Make sure you follow all of our panelists. They're like the best in Kansas City. Scott, thank you for being an amazing co-host. Thank you to Bank of Blue Valley and Burns & McDonnell for sponsoring. And we will see you same time, same place next week. Oh, real quick. Deborah says, awesome job. All right, guys, we'll see you later.